Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, this is Tyler Jones. You're listening to the Element Podcast. Attention, I'm about to speak. What's happening, people? We are sitting in the great city of Alba, Texas. Again, we're coming to you hot. It's a warm one out there today. It feels like spring. The oaks are budding with whatever those little drop down thingies are that they put out so much pollen that your lakes turn yellow. And I'm sitting here with KC Smith, one of your most favorite people, and our co-host. What's happening, dude?
I just worked half day today.
It's good news.
Man, I feel fresh right now. I do, man.
Froggy fresh.
It's good. It feels great. So just enjoying this weather, man. Today's a perfect day. Like, it's not like super hot outside. Right. It was that last week. I mean, it was like high 80s.
80, yeah. I saw 85 for sure.
I mean,
day.
I know it's not like the 105 like we get late summer, but it's also March right now, and I ain't used to 85 degrees. You know, like that's kind of rough.
Yep.
But today's good out there, man. I like it. I'm ready to get out and do some fishing. Ready to get out and actually
Did you go fishing the other day?
No, I didn't get to. I ended up working. I know it, man. What a crazy person.
Workaholic.
I know.
Dadgummit.
Yeah, well, the problem is I'm not a workaholic, but I have all these people who expect me to do work, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
So I can't say no. So, hey, but guess what?
You're going to be working on mine soon.
Am I?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Oh, that was just me guessing. But,
okay.
But you are.
Sure. Okay. But I am working some Saturdays here and there, and that's the money that's going to be going towards some tags in the fall.
Yeah.
So
get time and a half or?
No, not when you're working for yourself. You don't. It's kind of just a bonus, you know. Yeah. But this past Saturday, I worked for a guy who I go to church with. I'm real close to, and cool guy to hang out with. And I'm going to get to hunt his place this fall. So it's all worth it, man.
Dude, it's good news, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's good news. What's the scouting report like so far out there?
Lots of rubs. Ooh. Lots of tracks.
Yeah.
Fresh water. He's got a spring comes out on his place. Quite a few hogs, but there's a lot of deer and a lot of interesting habitat manipulations.
Really?
Put it that way.
Really?
Yeah. He likes to so he knows that I'm chummed up about this deer hunting stuff. So he's like, I'm going to come in here and clear some of this out so you can see. And I was like, don't do that. They like it that way.
Yeah.
But that's all right. You know, it's his place, you know. Yeah. But I'm excited to get out there, though. It's going to be cool.
Cool, man. Yeah. That's good news, dude. Mm-hmm. Well, I went fishing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you?
I did.
Did you get kitchen?
No. It was like NASCAR for boats out there.
So goes Lake Fork in the spring.
And on a tournament weekend.
Oh, yeah.
But Jet was like, we got to go get the boat. Like, wouldn't leave it alone. I was like, no, there's like literally 2,000 boats out there on 26,000 acres right now. And the thing is, What is that? That's 15, 16. Am I 14? What am I doing? 13. Oh my
26.
gosh, dude! I've been
Divided by 2.
I've been out of college for a while. So that's 13 acres per boat, right? But the problem is, at this time of year, everybody wants to fish the banks.
Yep.
You cannot go anywhere, dude. I mean, it's like there's just, you go into the littlest of pockets and there's 4 boats in there, you know?
It's because nobody wants to fish that big old clay bank on the main lake either, you know? Like, it ain't good for nothing. So.
No, yeah, it's a little bit of lake for a lot of people is the way it fishes this time of year, especially when they're not really as many on the deep humps and stuff. So anyway, yeah, it's real muddy, and I'm fishing with a 6-year-old that, you know, I have to kind of cast for him every time just about or do something. So anyway, it's just didn't really work out that good for me. But you know, one thing that you know, that's my review of Lake Fork this past weekend. But if you want to give your review of this podcast, tell them the best way they can do that.
The best way to do that is to go to iTunes and search, or your podcast app, and search the Element Podcast.
Even if you're subscribed.
Even if you're subscribed, go search, because it's hard to figure out. I actually haven't figured out how to give a podcast a review from the podcast page itself. So you have to search it. Search the Element Podcast. Go down very small amount to where you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. Click the 5th one to the right. That gives us a 5-star review. We'd very much appreciate it. And while you're there, write something cool.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, cool, funny, something.
Yeah.
Don't write something mean, because that'll hurt my feelings. But I like funny things a lot.
GPS coordinates to your best deer stand?
Yeah, that would be kind of a serious thing, but I would enjoy that too. So, yeah, I actually would scratch the funny thing. Let's do the GPS coordinates of your most recent sighting of, you know, 8 or 10 point.
Yeah.
Booner. Yeah.
If you don't have that, a simple hello and good job, guys, will do.
Yeah, good job, guys, is a good one, because we do work hard at this, and it's a lot to schedule all this and put it all together. And, you know, KC, it takes a lot for him to get dressed up in the morning and look like he does. I mean, he doesn't just wake up like that, okay, Instagram. So,
oh boy.
Anyway, today on the podcast, we have a cool guest. I've been in contact with him a few times now. His name is Dr. Robert Linder, and our buddy Jackson Harris set us up with this guy. We were looking for somebody to give us some information on the how-to of hunting turkeys. And if you are a listener or subscribed to this podcast, you probably have seen the one we did with Jackson and Annie Farrell recently, and that was a biological episode and habitat and that kind of thing. And we want to talk about, like, now that we've raised these turkeys up in the last 3 weeks and there's gobblers running everywhere, how do we kill them? And so we're going to talk to Dr. Linder about that today. Anything else going on that we need to mention before we get him on the phone?
Well, so the reason I wanted to do this podcast is because I am fixing to go on a turkey hunt with my granddad.
That's right.
And it's going to be kind of like a me and him kind of trip. You know, one of those trips that it means a lot to you. And I want to put my best foot forward, put my most effort I can into this and make it successful and enjoyable for him. I am a self-confessed turkey novice. I mean, I literally have been turkey hunting like 7 or 8 times over the course of my 29 years. You know, like, I just don't know a lot about it. I know how to hunt things, but every animal's different, right? And I want to learn some more stuff, like things about how to call. Like, I can make a really great turkey sound. Is it the right sound? I don't really know for sure, you know. No. I know not to go because that's when they run away. So you don't do that, right? But, you know, yelps and things like that. I want to learn some stuff and, like, be able to, A, call in a turkey for him to kill, but also, B, make this a really good experience for us and be fun. So, like, stuff about decoys, I would love for my granddad, because he's killed a lot of turkeys, ambush style, just sitting around knowing where they're going to go or whatever. But I'd love for him to get to sit there and see like 2 or 3 gobblers come into a hen decoy. Like, that would be awesome.
For sure, man. I think that hopefully this will help you out, man. We'll try to ask all the questions that will give you the answers that you may need.
I know I've got a lot. I got a lot of questions.
Yeah, me too. I've killed a few, man, and same as you. I've only been, a handful of times, killed a few, and most of them were just jakes anyway.
Yeah.
They're just dumb birds.
I've never
in,
decoyed in a turkey. I've killed quite a few, but they've always been ambush style. Like, oh, there's some turkeys, shoot them. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I know might not be like the cool way to do it, but sometimes I just want to eat a turkey, and that's the way you do it. You know. But I would like to learn more about this whole, the fun looking stuff that you see.
I feel like once you do learn a few things, like you'll be more effective at I'm going out to kill a turkey and I'm going to kill one kind of thing, instead of I don't know what I'm doing when I go out to kill a turkey, and now I just spent several $100s trying to kill a turkey when I could have just gone to the store and bought lunch meat.
Man, that Cajun turkey they got at Brookshire's, that stuff is good too. Lunch meat. Yes. So
I don't know if I've had it. We're newbies to we're back into the Brookshire's game recently.
That's true. That's true. Just moved back around this area, but. So I would like to go and have a good experience with my granddad. So,
make your own Cajun turkey.
Yes, that would be awesome. Maybe we'll do a podcast wrap up of how the turkey hunt went, at least in the intro or something later after we go, and then we can talk about how we cook the turkey.
For sure, that'd
because we gonna kill one.
I hope so, man. I can't wait to see pictures and video of how it went. And I guess now we'll get to the phone conversation with Dr. Linder. No opinions, straight facts and tactics. Let's do this. All right, so on the phone right now we have Dr. Robert Linder. What is going on?
Well, it's turkey season, and you know what that means.
That means you're in the woods.
Every weekend I can, and especially as I get older, I appreciate turkey hunting so much, so I'm trying to get in as much as I can with what I have left for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that's awesome. So season's been short, but apparently exciting for you at least. Tell us about what things are going
on. Yeah, I've been lucky. I've hunted for now, I guess, let's see, 3 days. Is that what it is? It opened 17th, and I've got 2 gobblers on the ground at 2 different ranches. So that's a lot of luck.
I don't know about that. You got some experience in there, I'm sure.
Well, I have, but I really hadn't been my best shot, though, on these. But I managed to take a couple down. That's what counts, really.
That's right. That's right. Did you? So I hate to pry, but did you have to have multiple shots on 1 or 2 of them?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I certainly did. I don't like to do that, but when you get to be 80 years old, sometimes you don't shoot as well as you'd like to shoot.
Yeah.
It's rather rare for me, but it's reality,
Yeah, I understand. I've, the first turkey that I ever called in with my dad. We grew up in an area where we didn't have turkeys, so we had to travel, and first turkey we called in, I missed, and I'm talking I could have cried. I was sad, man. And,
well, if you hunt turkeys, that's going to happen.
Oh yeah, I agree for sure. I've seen it happen several times since, but I did have I had an issue on that one, and so I went and patterned my shotgun, and later that week, and found out that I guess with that choke tube, it was shooting high and left the majority of the pattern. So I wasn't helping myself any not having patterned the shotgun at that point. Do you ever get into any of the preseason prep like that where you're looking at your shotgun patterning?
I wouldn't go out without it. In fact, I did a patterning of my gun about 4 weeks ago, and because as I said when I started this, I hadn't shot as well as I'd like. I patterned it again this morning, and I'm finding out what I thought I'd find out. The gun is really shooting very well. It's the band behind it that can shoot a little better.
Yeah.
So I've got to get my mechanics back to where they normally are.
Right. So. Are you shooting 3.5-inch shells, or what? What are you shooting?
No, I shoot 3s.
Okay.
I shoot 3s, and I shoot 5s or 6s usually, and I like them both. I shoot longbeards. Used to shoot the Winchester extended range. I love those shots, and it's the main thing is holding it on him on that first shot. You don't want to have to take a second shot. So.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
I'll tell you what, those 3.5 Magnum loads will absolutely whoop me. I don't like them.
Well, I have a purple shoulder right now, even with threes.
There's something about a turkey shell that'll flat knock you out.
It will, and you know what? You get where you don't feel them. I mean, when I hunt, I don't feel them. Now, where it hurts is that if you're patterning your gun and you're shooting at a range.
Yep, exactly.
When I'm turkey hunting, I'm too excited. I never feel it.
No, me neither. So, have you guys had as much rain as we have up here in North Texas?
No, we have not. Now, they did earlier this year, and I'm down below Foul Furious right now on the Dos Anjos Ranch, and I hunted the King Ranches the opening weekend, and they had water, but not now, and it's just beautiful weather down here. A little windy today. Mm-hmm. That's never great, but you know what? They get wind a lot down here, and the turkeys are used to it.
Yep.
And you can still kill them in the wind, but you use all the tactics that you come up with and get your box out or a really loud glass to sing to them and see if they can hear it. So that's what you do, and it works. Yeah. It works.
So
you have to know all the little tricks of the trade.
That comes with experience, I'm sure, and those are tricks that I don't know, and that was apparent last season for sure. Do heavy spring rains or lack thereof affect how the turkeys behave? Have you noticed that?
Not that much. I don't. Drought does. Now, if you got a lot of drought, it can be a problem. It's a problem for a couple of things. Talking about conservation earlier, and wanting to be sure we talk about conservation of the turkey, especially. You have to be careful that you don't overshoot your birds when you've got when you've got a drought situation. You want to be sure you don't if they're not having hatches, then you're going to lose birds. So you want to be sure that you watch that and not overshoot your birds, because if you have 2 or 3 years without a hatch, your numbers are going to go down. Now, here in Texas, we've had a couple of pretty good hatches the last few years, and where I am down here, there are birds everywhere. I mean, there should not be a problem. There are birds everywhere.
In my experience with like quail, especially, and I guess doves as well, there are different like trends over long periods of time. But how are you watching, your birds on a particular piece of property?
Yeah, if you hunt I've been hunting this particular ranch for 27 years.
Wow!
And so I know all the good places, and I know how many birds I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. And if you're a die-in-the-wool turkey hunter, and you see your numbers are going to go down, guess what? You might not take a bird that year.
Right.
Or if you've been used to taking multiple birds, you may only take one, because we care that much and we have the love for that bird that much that we want to take care of them. And a lot of people don't understand that, especially on small acreage. They get there and they've got about 8 gobblers on it when they buy their property. And before you know it, they've shot 6 of them the first year, and then they wonder why their numbers are down.
Yeah.
So, you have to sort of look at percentages. Mm-hmm.
Dude, so these birds, with quail, like you can see a huge swing in a year sometimes, and it's almost like that. It's one of those. I don't know the exact biological term for it, but you've got a ton of them. And it's almost like you can have a ton of them, or you kind of can't have any, and they have these big swings. Right. So are turkey like that as well? Do you have to be real careful year to year?
There aren't, other than the hatches, but you're exactly right about quail. If you don't have rain, you don't have quail. And the thing about turkeys is about the hatch. The thing is, if you have a lot of droughts and you don't have rain, and you don't have insects for those young turkeys to feed on when they're born, then they won't have hatches. So that's where you get it. You can call it rain or not rain, but the key is having food and insects for those baby poults when they're born, and the hen knows that. Mm-hmm. So if it's a bad year for poults, she just will not nest.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I know that how it seems that hens, or at least from what I understand, I'm not a turkey biologist, but they go out and they get bred once a day, and they'll go lay 1 egg. Is that correct?
Right, up to 13 eggs usually, and they sit on that nest, and they're very vulnerable then after that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I've had one scare the living daylights out of me that they'll sit right on top of that thing. It seems like until you walk right up on them. Anyways, so in a drought condition like that, is she going to just hold off that year, or can the swing in the conditions? If you get those spring rains or something, can it kind of perk them up?
Well, that decision is usually made before that. I mean, spring rains would help and all that, but it's all about the insects and the food.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes time for mating, she may have been bred, but she may not produce those eggs just because of her analysis of the biological situation for her poults.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to nest. So that's the problem. And she knows that. It's just one of those wonderful things of nature that poult has. So you go 2 or 3 years without a hatch and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I can see
but
that.
then like this, the last few years, we've got enough young turkeys that we're gonna have great hunting for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
That's good news for all of us, for sure.
Yeah,
Hey, while we're
right.
on the biology stuff, so turkeys are known for their, really keen ability to spot a hunter, and they're known for vision. People, you always hear, if turkeys could smell, we'd never kill one.
That's right.
But so, what do you know about how their vision works? What do they pick up on? Is it colors, or is it movements, or what's their deal?
It's movement first.
Uh-huh.
Movement. And if you stand out against your environment, in other words, if you don't have, it doesn't have to be exact, but you need pretty good camo.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that matches the woods that you're hunting in fairly closely. Doesn't have to be exact. Like down here in South Texas, it may be more green down here because of this time of year. You got all these weesatch bushes that are lime green, and so you've got a little green mixed in with your camo. So if you're hunting in the eastern part of the state of Texas, then you've got more blacks and browns, and the turkeys pick up on that if they see something. But if you move, that's the biggest problem, and you have to realize they can see 270 degrees because being an animal that's hunted by predators, their eyes are on the side of their head, not in front.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can see all around. That's why people that hunt turkeys say sometimes they can see through trees. But it's amazing that their sight is so good. But yes, movement is the main thing. And a lot of people, one of the key things is moving your head. We don't think much about it, especially deer hunters. You're in a blind or whatever, and you move your head a lot. Then you get out looking for deer. And then you get outside where you don't have a cover of a blind or something, and you're used to moving your head. Well, a great turkey hunter hunts with his eyes, not with his head.
Mm-hmm.
He cuts his eyes from left to right, and he does as little head movement as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know when a turkey's looking at you. You may not see him, but he may see you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have had an experience. The thing that taught me the most about turkeys and how you had to be still, I was actually in the fall. I was in a tripod stand down in South Texas and had a deer feeder about 110 yards from there. And I scratched my nose with a hen underneath that feeder. And boy, she went, they make that high pitched, just cluck thing.
Little putt, and away they go.
Yeah, that's right. And then all you see is a turkey running away.
Right.
It's amazing how they can pick out that stuff like that. So what do you do as a hunter to set yourself up to not be seen by turkeys that are coming into your setup? Are you setting up?
Good question. Now, well, there are different ways to do it. Now, when I was younger, I would sit on the ground up against a tree, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I always, because I use slates and boxes as well as mouth calls, I use a number of different calls. Then I make sure that I can move my hands. That means I put brush in front of me up to almost my waist, and I put cut some limbs and put them on the side of me where those turkeys can't see me. And I also, more important, I carry clippers to make sure I have good shooting lanes, that I'm covered. They can't see me very well, but I have lanes to shoot through, and that's vital. And I make sure that whatever I put around me sort of matches with whatever I've got camo-wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
So and that covers me up where the turkeys can't see me.
Yeah.
And I try to always get in the shade or in a dark area. Don't be sitting in sunlight for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's pretty much commonplace for people to hear a tom, run up there, set up a decoy, and go sit down. Why is it that people always like to sit for turkey hunting? I could see a world where, especially at least here in East Texas, I know down there where you're at, the trees aren't very big, but, up here we've got an oak tree that's got a big trunk that you could hide behind. Is it just not how people do it, or is there a reason why?
Let me comment about that. In order to shoot the turkey or see the turkey, if you're behind that tree, what do you have to do?
I guess stick your head out.
When you stick your head out, that turkey hunt's over.
Yeah,
that turkey hunt is now over.
If
you have to move your gun around that tree, the turkey hunt's over. So there are two things. You don't bring up your gun until a turkey's head is behind his fan or behind a thick enough tree that you can move. Mm-hmm. You can't outdraw a turkey. Okay? You can't outdraw him. So that quick movement is not going to work. So you have to wait till he can't see you in order to get in position to kill him. And so that's just more of your protection, is to know when to get your gun up.
Gotcha. All right. Very cool.
And that's why a lot of people, they don't want to even have to put down a slate or a box. They learn the mouth call so they can have both hands on the gun ready to move it up when the time comes. Otherwise, if they've been calling with a slate or a box, they've got to put it down before they can get their gun, and they better be hid real well, because if they make movement when that turkey's within sight, he's going to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is that something that you employ? Do you kind of go slate or box call, and then
I start in the morning if they're gobbling on the roost. Let's say I know where the roost is, and I get within 75 yards, and they gobble 2 or 3 times. I make sure they gobble 2 or 3 times before I ever talk to them. Mm-hmm. Then I do a little thing called a tree call, a little soft 3-note tree call, like a hen waking up, because she's in the tree too. They're gobbling in the trees. She's waking up in the trees, and she says, "Boys, I'm over here." So I'm using a really soft slate call. They make these little purr pots that you can do a tree call on. Woodhaven makes those, and they're really nice for making soft morning sounds. So I use that. And then once they get down on the ground, I go to a regular slate or a box, depending on which one. And if it's windy, I use a box or a glass, because I like both the slate and the glass. But I use the slate probably more than anything else. And every now and then, they want to hear more rasp. When they want more rasp, I'm giving them my raspy 2.5 or 3 reed mouth call. I'm calling from a diaphragm call. Mm-hmm. So I use it all. And the turkeys let me know what they like. If they gobble back, I'm going to continue to use that call.
So do you happen to have a call with you where you could show us the tree call?
Well, let me hold on just a second. Yep, I just happen to have one in here if I could find it fairly quickly.
That would be awesome.
That just lets the bird. Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's just to let the gobbler who's in the tree know, guess what, I'm over here. And when you fly down, if you're looking for a girl, I'm over here. And if you catch a gobbler where he's by himself, quite frequently he'll fly right to you. Mm-hmm. And so you got a quick. You have a quick hunt. It's over with pretty quickly.
That's my kind of hunt right there. Yep. So you're talking about how important the strikers are and the different types of woods and stuff to make that tree call.
Yeah. Well, right now I happen to be using a 150-year pine that's made by Cody. It's called a fat wood. And but I also go. There's a fellow by the name of Larry Gresser for Prairie Calls. He's got about 25 different woods. And he explains to you how they're going to respond on your slate. Uh-huh. And I always carry at least 3 types. I carry a high pitch, a medium pitch, and a low pitch. And sometimes the gobbler likes a high pitch. Sometimes he likes a low pitch or a medium. So it's like fishing for bass. One day they want a purple worm. The next day they want a motor oil worm, a motor oil worm. Mm-hmm. And so you've got to have everything in your tackle box that might make that gobbler do what you want him to do.
So how are you deciding what he likes? Do you just kind of see how his response?
I have a few what I call go-to calls that most birds like, and I'll start with those. And if that doesn't work, I'll try. Let's say I go with just a medium call. And if I'm not having much success, I'll try a higher pitch or a low pitch until I get a gobble.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you go and you don't get a gobble at all, even if you try all three. So, I mean,
I know a little something about that.
Can't tell. But also, I have a carbon striker that gives me a little rest. Now, that rest is important because they like that little edge. That's why I told you I also have raspy mouth calls that I use periodically because it sounds like an older bird, a more mature bird, and that's what they're looking for. Sometimes they want a 21-year-old date, and sometimes they want a more experienced 50-year-old woman. So that's the way it goes.
Yeah, well, it makes sense, I suppose. Yeah,
it does make sense. Yeah.
So, do you switch over to the mouth call when they get close?
No, in fact, you got it just back. I'll use a mouth call usually when they're further out. Okay. And when it gets closer, I'll go to my slate and I call softer. Or guess what? When they get a gobble 30 or 40 yards away, I may quit calling altogether. Because sometimes your best call is a no call.
Yeah, yeah.
And you let them spit and drum and come in because they don't always gobble all the way in. It depends on what their temperature is. You have to do what we call take their temperature. Are they calling a lot? Then you call a lot. If they're calling very seldom, then you call very seldom. You've got to work with whatever he's giving you.
Sure.
And if he didn't want to come in, sometimes he's out there 50 yards, what we call getting hung up. Then you just quit calling and make him look for you. So especially if you don't have a decoy, you want him to come and looking for you.
Sure.
If you got a decoy, quite frequently he'll come in quietly to the decoy.
Yeah. So let's go into that a little bit. How often do you use decoys?
Well, I use on these hunts. I've used a decoy every day, but I use hens. 2 hens usually, and the reason why is if there are a lot of jakes, if you may know this, there are a lot of jakes. Sometimes they'll team up on the old gobbler and run him off. So if there are years where there are a lot of jakes, I'm careful not to put out a jake decoy because it actually scares the gobbler away. Rather than years where there are not many jakes, well, that big gobbler will come in to whip him to run him away from the hens. So you gotta know. That's what scouting all about in early season preparation that you mentioned. You go out and find out about what the birds are doing a week or two ahead of time on the property you're going to hunt. You try to look around, see how many jakes are there, and listen in the morning. You can tell the difference between a jake and a mature gobbler when they gobble in the trees even. So, I mean, your job is to know your terrain and know what the birds are doing as best you can, and sometimes you still can't beat them.
Is there any specific orientation to those decoys that you like to set out?
Not really. I mean, I could give you an example like we did yesterday, or day before yesterday, King Ranch. We thought we would set up a decoy a certain way, and the bird might come in and want to mount it, and this happened to be a bow hunt, and that way you would try to manipulate the bird into a position that you want him to be for a bow kill. And the bird came in and did just the opposite. So I mean, you cannot figure out a gobbler. They just do whatever they want to do. So
when you're bow hunting them,
I'm not a bow hunter. I was a caller that day.
Okay.
It works best bow hunting if one guy can hunt and one guy can call.
Right. So when did he end up drawing? When did he find the opportunity to do that?
You can't until his tail comes up and goes behind his head. One of our problems was this bird didn't get shot so later, turning as if he were leaving because they were looking right at us, and my hunter could not draw at all. We had him at 15, 20 steps, and we couldn't draw. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't outdraw. It's like a gun. You can't raise your gun real fast and kill him, and you can't draw real fast and kill him with a bow. So you have to wait till you can draw, get set, and we had to wait till he started to leave, and I purred, a little purr. And when I did, he turned around, looked at the decoy, turned back around, I purred again, and he threw his tail up in a strut. And when he came back down, he shot with a bow and killed him. So
wow.
That's the way it goes.
That's cool. That's cool. So and when you're scouting, back to what you were talking about just a second ago, are you you mentioned kind of listening in the mornings.
You go out at gobbling time, sit in your car, roll the window down, and cut your lights off, and sit there and do that early, 15 minutes before or 20 minutes before gobbling time. And then when gobbling time comes, you get to hear, are there any in the area? If so, where are they? What direction? and that puts you way ahead when the season comes. And how many are there? How many gobblers are there?
Are you doing evening scouting as well when they go up to roost?
You can do that, but to do that, you've got to walk on the land usually, and do a owl hoot or something like that to get them to gobble.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. Most birds don't talk as much in the afternoon as they do in the morning.
Okay. So are you consequentially, are you killing more birds in the morning usually?
Yeah, I usually do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the best time's between 10 and noon after the hens leave them.
Yeah.
The hens, after they feed with them, they'll go sit on the nest and start feeding by themselves. Gobblers start looking for more hens.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you call to them, they respond. In the morning, they're not going to leave those hens. When they've got a brunette and a blonde on each side, why should they come look for a redhead they can't see?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning earlier when I was talking to you that you probably be heading back out this evening for the last few hours. Is there kind of a dead period in there from noon to, say, 4 when you don't see much activity?
Because it's so hot down here in South Texas that they don't move. They stand under a tree and just stand there.
Yeah.
They don't move around until it begins to cool off again. Then they'll start feeding and getting water before they go to roost. So your best hunting is later in the afternoon. And you might as well take a nap in the middle, in most cases. Yeah.
Siesta.
I'm all about that life. Give me a good lunch and a nap and go out for an evening hunt. That sounds good. So, hey, earlier you were digging around in your vest looking for your slate call, and I understand that vests are a big deal for turkey hunters. Can you tell us your go-to choice and some details that you look for in a vest?
Well, NWTF puts out vests that are good, and you can look at different companies, and there are plenty of them out there. The key thing about a vest is they usually have plenty of pockets, because you got to put all those calls in your pocket. And some of these vests are built so that you can tote your turkey after you get one. You can put it back in the back part of your vest. Some of these vests come with a place that you can sit down. It's got a little cushion that you can sit down by your tree or whatever. So it's pretty vital. The main thing is in all the pockets. It's got for carrying all the stuff that you need to carry the woods, the light and the bug spray and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So whenever you do call a gobbler in and you make a good shot on him, when you run up there and he's doing the flop, what's the first thing you look for? You looking for spurs? You looking for beard?
First thing I do is step on his head.
Step on his head.
You step on his head where he can't flop around and spur you.
Uh-huh.
It also helps him stop that reaction that he has while he's dying of beating around the wings and throwing those feet around.
Mm-hmm.
So you help him, to stop that by stepping on his head and just stand there until he quits doing all that flopping. Then you grab him by the legs and where the spurs won't bother you. And I look for a beard, yes, and I look to see what kind of spurs. Those are the key thing. Beard and spurs are always key thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, cool.
But mainly, now you have to realize I've been hunting a long time. So I just want to find a good mature bird. I'm not one of these guys that's looking for a 25-pound plus bird with an 11-inch beard and a spur that's 1.5 inch long.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really great trophy things to have. But I enjoy. My big thing is talking with the gobblers and the hens and calling them in close and enjoying the strutting that goes with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the kill is important, yes, but it's the last part of what I consider a turkey hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
to me, it's mono e mono, and I beat you, and tomorrow you beat me, and we'll keep playing this game. Because the game is such an incredible game,
mm-hmm.
and that's why people that are serious turkey hunters, they say 10% of the turkey hunters kill 90% of the birds, and I'm a big believer in that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will tell you, "Oh, it's your woodsmanship and it's all this and that," and I tell them you need to be a good caller, because I said you can check this out. You go into a turkey woods anywhere you want to, and you can sit out on your rear end and not call and see how long it takes for a gobbler to walk by. You better be a good turkey caller.
It'd be kind of tough.
Yeah.
So do you approach calling as a language that you need to learn, or do you just approach it to try to know what you need to know to get a turkey to come in?
Well, if you go to a turkey calling contest, which is pretty incredible, they're better than turkeys almost, these guys. I'm not a real incredible a competitive caller. I'm just a hunter, but I have a good ear for. That's why I'm a judge. But they have a list of like 10 calls that they're required that they may be called or used. But if I'm hunting out there, I can kill a lot of turkeys with 3 calls, and maybe 4 or 5 at the most. Mm-hmm. Main thing is the yelp. You've always got a yelp. So you learn the yelp first, then you learn to cluck. It's just a simple puck, puck. You learn to cluck, and that'll kill a turkey by itself. And then I learned to cut. That's when a hen is wanting to be mated. It's probably midday, and she's dying to find a gobbler, and she starts cutting uneven, pop, 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 like that. Mm-hmm. And it drives gobblers crazy. Here they come. And then I learned a tree call. Then you can learn a little thing called a fly down cackle if you want to. But most of the time, I just use those 3 main calls, or let's add the tree call, like 4 of them. Mm-hmm. And I kill lots of turkeys with those calls.
That's cool. That's cool. So you kind of alluded to this. You were part of the World Calling Championships recently. Can you tell us about that experience?
Oh, yeah. This was at Max Prairie Winks in Stuttgart, Arkansas. And there were 7 judges for every event. And I got to MC the 2-man team event, and then I judged the finals for the men's. And, I mean, just incredible callers. And I did the same thing for the Grand Nationals in Nashville about 2 weeks before that. And there were, in order to even get into that, you have to win a state competition or an open. So we had 43, I believe, of the best callers in the United States. And, I mean, they're just wonderful callers, just fabulous. And they're calling on calls that you can't buy in a store. I mean, they're having custom calls and makers to make certain calls to make them sound as good as they can. Wow. And but they get a lot of money for that, so they're pretty serious about sounding really, really great. Mm-hmm. But it's all, in the end, they've got to sound like a turkey. Yeah. They've got to really sound like a turkey. So that's the key thing. So you have to know what a turkey sounds like. Mm-hmm. A lot of people want a turkey hunt, but they don't even know what a turkey sounds like.
So was that your first time to do that?
No. That was, I started doing the Grand Nationals 11 years ago, judging that. Mm-hmm. And I've judged the World Championships 3 times. So.
That's cool. So, well, the first time you ever did that, were you nervous that you weren't going to know what to look for or something?
No. Well, yeah, you sort of get schooled on that. But the thing that you're nervous about is you're judging with some of these really fantastic callers or people you've known about, some of them from television and people like that have got their own TV shows and have been national champions before and things like that. So you have to get used to that. And you're there because you've judged competitions for like Bass Pro and Cabela's and places like that, and your state championships. So you sort of get a reputation for that, and that's the way you get to be a judge. So
I'm curious. I've never been to one of these calling championships. Do they have do they show a scenario? They tell you a scenario, and do you call to that scenario?
They did this year for the TV. They did a scenario. They gave them like early in the morning in the tree gobbling, and the hens fly down. You get a fly down cackle. You get some tree calls. You get down on the ground. There's some jakes in there, so the jakes do a little kiki run, they call it, which is a little whistle mixed with a yelp, and they require you have to go through 5 or 6 required calls mixed into these scenarios. So yes, they have those, but until you get to that level, quite frequently you're only doing 4 or 5 calls that judge don't have.
Yeah.
So earlier you were talking about how you were just a shotgun hunter, and you also alluded to the possibility that you might have missed a turkey. So I wanted to know, what's your sight look like on your shotgun? Are you a scope guy, or are you like a true glow?
I am a scope guy now, but remember, I'm 80 years old now, and my brother insisted I get a scope 2 or 3 years ago, and I never used a scope. But that's part of just getting older, And so they've got such incredible scopes now that if you're careful how you shoot and use a scope, that it can make it easier. It really can.
So I've never shot a shotgun with the scope at a turkey. Are you aiming right at that sucker's eyeball, or where would you aim with the scope?
No, you aim at his neck.
Aim at his neck.
Aim at his neck, and also with these scopes now, you've got either a red dot you put on the area you want to shoot, or a diamond. Put his head in a diamond.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
That's the way they are.
Yeah. So what type of shotgun are you shooting?
I'm shooting a Mossberg 500, but I have a Benelli also. So, I mean, it's not about the shotgun. Any of these shotguns will kill them.
Yeah.
It's about how straight you shoot and what shot and what pattern's best in your gun, and that's all that counts. Because you're shooting these birds at 20 to 40 yards, you're not that far from them.
Yeah.
Call them in that close. You know?
Yeah.
If they're close enough for you to shoot, you can kill them if you can shoot straight. But you get excited. Now remember, you get a beautiful gobbler out there spinning around, and you're having to shoot through trees or around, through bushes or another gobbler's in front of him, and you have to wait till he leaves, or you don't want to shoot the hen behind him. I mean, there's a lot of problems that come with killing a gobbler.
Yeah, sure. So, are you always calling to a turkey? Do you ever do like a run and gun ambush style of a hunt?
I've done that as a young person. On a ranch, especially, I don't know where all the turkeys are. I drive a quarter of a mile, get out, cut, make a call to try to locate them, and if they gobble, I'll go towards them and sit down and call them. So, yeah, cutting and running is one way to hunt, but I'm a really good caller, and I like to sit still and call them to me because I can do that. My brother's a running gunner, so I mean, he's a caller, but he's a running gunner also.
Yeah, that's cool. So if you were going to, I guess, approach a new turkey hunter, a guy who wants to go do it on his own, not go guided or anything, and he's going to go to a place. Well, I'm not going to tell you that. He just wants to kill a turkey. Doesn't matter, Jake, big gobbler, whatever. How would you tell him to go about that?
Well, I'm trying to find out from the ranch owner, the landowner, as much as I could about the place. If there's water on it, I'd get close to water. Okay? And the turkey's got to come to water every day, usually twice. So I'd do that. I'd have a locator call if I didn't know where they were, which is an owl hooter or something like that. Do the night before or early in the morning, before around gobbling time, to locate where they might be that day. And, I would have the right camo. I'd go out and look at the place and see what kind of camo, how dark it needed to be. And then I would try to, the day before I went on my hunt, I would try to go out and scout where I wanted to set up. And, possibly near water. And, or if you've seen birds on the ranch, wherever they are, you can pattern them and get in that area, and they'll probably be back there, the same place within 30 minutes or an hour the next day. You never know.
Does that change between Rios and Easterns?
Well, Easterns, you're hunting thick woods. That's different than what we're hunting out here. And, our woods aren't that thick. Easterns are in much thicker woods. And a lot of times they're on top of you. By the time you see him, he's already 20, 30 steps from you. So, and not only that, he's real spooky and he's hard to call. So he doesn't, he calls a lot in the morning, but it's tough later.
Yeah.
So,
how do you feel about?
The thing about Rios is they gobble a lot, so it's fun. They usually gobble a lot. So that's good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let you know where they're at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about fall turkey hunting?
I don't do that, any of it.
Really?
Now that's good if you do it right. Fall turkey hunting in Texas is turkey shooting. It's not turkey hunting.
So calling doesn't work.
If you want to take out a gobbler with your scope while you're deer hunting, then you're a turkey shooter. You're not a turkey hunter.
So you never go out and target turkeys in the fall ever?
Never. I remember the National Wild Turkey Federation. If you're going to hunt those fall turkeys, you need to either go bust up a flock or you need to get you a dog to bust up a flock, and then you call them back in like you would in the spring. But you have to call a turkey for it to really hunt. You need to call him.
So it's an ethics thing more than it is like a availability
it is for
thing.
Me, yes.
Okay.
It is. I'm just not much of if I lived up in Pennsylvania where they've got good fall turkey hunting, then I probably would. But this is it's not something we do around here. Other than deer hunting and a bird comes to the feeder.
Right.
It's different.
Right.
That's turkey shooting.
Yeah. So speaking of Pennsylvania or another state, what are your favorite couple of states to hunt in?
I love New Mexico. I've hunted there. I really love it a lot. I've hunted Colorado. Missouri's fantastic. I've hunted Florida. I've hunted about 18 or 20 states. And then I've also, World Slam, I've killed all 6 species of the turkey.
Wow.
I hunted Google's turkey in Mexico. around Durango, and hunted the ocellated turkey in the jungles of Campeche.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But different states makes you a better turkey hunter.
Oh, I can imagine for sure. Yep, lots of experience there. Selfishly, I'm interested in New Mexico. I was there in 2015 in the summertime, and we saw some turkeys. We were in the mountains fishing. Are you fishing?
Yeah.
Are you hunting them there in the mountains, or?
Am I what in the mountains?
Are you hunting them in the mountains? Are they mountain turkey?
Yeah, in the mountains. I hunt them in the mountains. Those are Miriam turkeys.
Right. So does that change anything? The mountains
you don't call quite so hard to them because you can overcall them.
Okay.
You have to give them more space. Mm-hmm.
And how you finding birds like that are in that kind of country?
Same way you find them anywhere else. That part stays the same. Yeah.
So just like creek systems and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. And anytime you're around water, you got a better chance.
Yeah.
And then some of those canyons will hold birds, some of them won't. You just have to find out which ones do.
Sounds tough for a turkey.
It is tough.
I imagine.
Yeah.
That's cool. Casey and I, last year, we decided to hunt some public land here in Texas for turkeys. And we have some knowledge that we gained that we probably would do things differently. But I have a scenario here that I'd like to ask you about. We roosted a tom the first night in a tree, and he was maybe 40 yards on the other side of a pretty deep creek that didn't have a lot of water in it, but it was pretty deep. And the creek system was the border of private land. So he was just over on private. And we came back the next morning, and he was still roosted in that tree, and we were unable to get him to fly down on our side of the creek. Is there a way to do that?
That's not uncommon. That's not uncommon. Maybe there's more food on the other ranch than on your ranch. So or the WMA, the Wildlife Management Area. So that could be one reason. The other reason is there might be hens over on one that he's going to join some hens, or already hens were there. And the other is depending on how good you call to him. If you called to him when he was in the tree, and you didn't call well, then maybe that was the problem. I don't know.
That's likely.
But, very likely.
You have to know what you're doing and how to do things with them, or they'll know you're not a turkey. So that's the whole deal. Do I sound like a turkey?
So how do you? And I feel like you're going to have a good answer for this. How do you learn to know what you're doing?
Well, one of the great things about today is get you some DVDs. I mean, we got DVDs everywhere, and then the other is to physically get with a good turkey hunter that knows what he's doing, and have him listen to you call, have him make recommendations on what calls you should use and should buy, because a lot of us, there are people out there turkey hunting with a Volkswagen, and there are a lot of us hunting with Mercedes-Benz and Porsches. You know what I mean? We've got equipment that's designed.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think that's a great point, because for me, I need to hear that, because I'm the kind of guy who likes to go out and learn it myself and learn how to do things. And that's all well and good, except my turkey hunting opportunities are kind of limited. So it might take me 15, 20 years to learn what's right and wrong.
No, it won't. No. You just get with the right guy. You got to get with the right guy and let him help you out. There's seminars. You can sometimes catch a seminar in your area. But the main thing is find out who's a good seminar within a good turkey hunter within 100 miles of you, and sit down with them and let them teach you more about it. But DVDs are a good place to start, not just from the hunt, but listen to them. There's some CDs out there also where you can listen to turkeys, see what they sound like. I mean, there's one thing you should start off getting is the Midwest Turkey Call magazine. It's free. Midwest Turkey. It's just a catalog for ordering turkey equipment.
Okay.
Turkey equipment that you can't go buy in a regular store. I mean, people that are seriously in the business, most of them aren't walking around, and I don't mean this bad, with a call just off the shelf. Where most of us are using custom calls. So
Yeah, and that's Midwest Turkey Hunting Magazine. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Midwest Turkey Call catalog, call it.
Okay, all right.
They've got a website as well, Midwest Turkey Call.
Cool. All right, we'll include that in our notes, the website to that, and probably look at it myself as soon as we get off the phone call. Good. I'm going to give you one more Question, all right?
Go ahead, go for it.
I would like to know, how has the world of turkey hunting changed since you started?
The callers are better and the turkeys are smarter. Two key things. When they've been called to a lot, they're a little bit more cagey themselves. So, that's a key thing. And the turkey hunters are better. Now, in Texas, we still have a problem. We're a deer hunting state, and people in Texas are slow to learn about turkey calling. They think if I can make a sound on a box call, I can kill a turkey. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily true. You can kill a turkey with the box calls are great, and more turkeys have been killed with a box call than anything. But you need to know how to use a box call, and most of them don't, I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just it's getting yourself ready, doing the right thing. That's it,
So let me wrap it up with this. You are heavily involved, or have been for some time now, in conservation with turkeys. And, I'm sure you lived through a different era. But just tell me, or tell us and the audience, why you're so involved in the NWTF and in turkey conservation when turkeys are so prevalent in the majority of the U.S. right now.
Well, NWTF took turkeys in where they used to be in the 1800s, early 1800s, but then they got killed out, and they've been restoring them there. So the motto is save the habitat, save the hunt. That's the motto of National Wild Turkey Federation, and I'm a big believer in that. Let's have better habitat for these turkeys where we can have more turkeys to hunt, and we take care of our turkeys because we respect them. And National Wild Turkey Federation does that. It's a great group to join. They know that they're tough turkeys with the money that you spend at the banquets and by having a membership. You just can't beat what the National Wild Turkey Federation is doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. That's a good plug for them. And Dr. Linder, I appreciate you doing this with us, taking time out of your day and doing it on such short notice. This has been entertaining, to say the least, for me, for sure. So I appreciate it.
Okay. I'm glad you've had a good time. I have.
Good thing. Well, go out and kill a bird this afternoon. Good luck the rest of your season.
Thank you very much.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir.
Well, spring has sprung.
It has.
Like I said, I'm looking out this window like, man, there should be a turkey in your yard right now.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about turkey hunting, too, is it's like very enjoyable weather when you usually go. Mm-hmm. Now, last year when we went, it was freezing cold one morning. But
and burning up
that afternoon. Yeah, not always the case. But Texas. Yeah, dude, I think that Dr. Linder may have told me a few things. Like, he simplified stuff a little bit, like what you need to do and how to do it. It wasn't like a in-depth and like all this crazy calling and stuff. Like when you talked about the 3 different calls you need to kill turkeys, that's cool. I think I can do those, or I can learn to. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's nice, like, as a novice to not not be overwhelmed with information immediately. Sure. Like, give me 5 things that I need to do, you know what I'm saying? Or that I need to learn, and I'll go do that and go out and give it a shot. And maybe have a few encounters, maybe not get it done, but at least I learned something, and we go back next year and we get it done or whatever. Yeah, and that's such an industry thing, man. And not to get off on a different topic, but like, we operate a lot in the whitetail world, and the turkey world's, I'm assuming, much the same, to where there's what do you need to do to kill a whitetail? You need to find a trail and sit on it, and you will kill a whitetail sooner or later, right? Like, that's the easy answer. Right. And there's all this other stuff we can add to it. And then there's a whole bunch of more stuff that you can add to it that isn't really necessary at all, but it sells. And I'm sure turkey's the same way. If you make this new box call that's really good at making this yippee-ki-yay call that the turkeys do, somebody's going to buy it. And it's so hard to wade through all that stuff and actually figure out the meat and potatoes of things. Man, you just gave me $1 million idea. What is that? It's called the Turkey Yodeler. The Turkey Yodeler. Yeah, it's a new call. New call? Yeah. You gonna sell it? Yeah, it's a dude. Pranker boy. It's a pranker boy call. All our listeners are gonna steal your idea now. Dadgummit, man. If I see the Turkey Yodeler,
I will come for you.
That's funny.
But I'm not going to create it, so I'm only going to get a percentage off of you. So, speaking of collars, he mentioned the Midwest Turkey Call magazine. We'll link to that. So, if you're listening, it's underneath. There was an NWTF vest that he mentioned. So, since we've met with Jackson, I've become a pretty big fan of the NWTF and what they're doing. And we'll link to that vest so you can go check that out as well. Also, we released 2 videos last week. One is duck poppers. It's cooking video. We haven't done a cooking video in a while, and we'll probably try to put out a few more of those this summer when it is blazing hot and we don't want to get ticked up and ticked off again. And and we'll probably do some of those cooking videos that we'll release later this summer. But we did release one, and I heard somebody say it looked good. Mm-hmm. And then we also, our other video was we released for Fish Friday, which we made up, and it's a video of me catching some greenback cutthroat trout. It's like a minute and a half, so it's definitely worth your time. And it's me just slamming a couple of greenbacks or a few greenbacks, and I could have just about caught them every cast. I think I did for about the first 10 casts, but they're just stacked into this high mountain lake, and they're just so beautiful. I mean, like, just the red on their sides is just unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
It is, so far, it's my favorite fish that I've caught, probably period.
That's cool. This is from the same trip, and I think you told the story in the podcast of the bear encounter. Yep.
Yep.
So if you remember that story that Tyler told, it's the same trip.
When we came off the mountain on the way back, there was a brown or cinnamon phase black bear like 20 yards from us when we came around the corner. And if you remember, or if you don't remember, I'll go ahead and tell you, he came so fast. I mean, he had attacked us, and it was nuts. I mean, luckily I took some boxing lessons in college and worked the speed bag a lot, and was able to fend him off. But yeah, if you don't remember that story, that's okay. Anyway. Anything else we need to talk about before we get out of here? We're heading to Tailwaters.
Heading to Tailwaters Fly Shop, man. I'm going to go chat with Sean a little bit. And I need to get some more squirrel, some pine squirrel strips, because we got a fishing trip coming up this weekend.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they'll sell some stuff after hours there.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be there later this evening talking with Sean, and the podcast should release somewhere around March 29th, hopefully on March 29th. And it's going to be an interesting one. This will be our 60th podcast, and we've got 60-somethings lined up for you. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Be looking for it on March 29th, and I'm hoping that we can get that to you. It's been a busy week already, and it's going to be a busy week for us. But we're going to head down to a river somewhere in Texas this weekend, and we'll have a recap for you somewhere in the next couple of weeks on one of the podcasts, I'm sure, and a video hopefully to you later this summer at the very least. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. Like I said, if you did, give us a review or mention us or send us a message on Facebook, and we'd love to hear from you guys. Anyway, God bless you as you go about your week, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope spring is good to you, and we get out and catch some fish, shoot some turkeys, whatever it is, shoot some rabbits. Hope you're enjoying the outdoors, and just remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay, every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24th, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.